Hopefully this time around they can round this game out and try and go into a game 3.
Yeah, that is the goal right here. As Snake and Dan Gaming will go head-to-head once more. I'll take a look at the keystones here. So anything jumping out to you, anything out of the ordinary for these two teams?
Yep, and my friends, that is a barrier Tristana. Now,
that's not a keystone, but okay.
The reason why I'm well, if you want to talk about the keystones, the fact that you got Windspeaker's Blessing and a heal for Cat means he is going to go towards the Ardent Sensor Rush. And so that kind of leaves Choo-Choo with the freedom of not having to go heal. I mean, if you're an 80 carry, it's very exciting for you. You're like, well, I actually can pick between any one of these summoner spells. So going towards barrier is going to be a lot more safer for him. He's like, you know, usually you're like, the 80 carries go towards a cleanse. But he doesn't really fear much from Snake. Should probably fear the passive from Hoodie or Zatai's stuns. So he's, no, I'm just gonna get this here barrier.
Karen's gonna start off in his red buff, it looks like. And he'll space out these cats because it's damage over time. So
he's even got a third one.
All of you Maokai jungle players out there, make sure to space out your saplings. Don't put them all next to each other because you're just wasting damage.
Yep. You would expect them to, let's say, stack on. Let's say if you have 2 saplings, they all hit at the same time. You're like, yes, that is a lot of mini cats. No, you don't get the mini cats.
Not how it works, unfortunately. But it's the same way that like Teemo shrooms, you know, they don't stack. Just increase duration. Shaco boxes, on the other hand, they do stack because they're toxic. But no other trap in the game really does that.
Yeah, just like life. You only get one. You only get one cat coming out of there.
Yeah, but you can chain them.
Yeah.
That's all good. So, what are we looking at in the bottom lane? Push in from Dan. Makes sense. Tristana into this lane. Mid lane pretty much going to be mostly even. Top lane, Wise gets shoved in early by Jarvan, which sucks for him. Just means he has to farm into tower now.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. People are going to look at this early portion of the game. And I know the meme's always been about like, oh, you know, laning phase doesn't matter. But if you've seen Kog'Maw games, it does. A lot of the times you see Kog'Maw losing towers very early on. And this game should probably be the exact same trajectory because that's a free lane for Choo-Choo and Cat. And he's just been using his E, just kind of getting a lot of hits on that turret. So Dan's focus really early on to the game, especially since top lane is just getting shoved in against them, is just to really propel Choo-Choo and Cat forward. You can even see the wards being placed down here, just so they can get a good idea of where the enemy jungler is. So they can get a free tower for themselves really early on in the game. Maybe like a 7-8 minute turret. We've been seeing really early towers going up against the Kog'Maw comps.
That's the goal right here. I'm just excited to see that early damage come in from Cat and Tristana because usually we see the Lulu with the Kog'Maw or like a Janna to hit that like semi 1.5 item power spike for Kog'Maw very early on, but it's actually going to be the case for Choo-Choo right here.
Yeah, they decided to empower their team fighting rather than just going for, that really obnoxious Ardent Sensor meta. You don't go towards the Sight Stone earlier on. So, at the very least, Snake are just trying to play these mid-game team fights a little bit more secure. They've been liking these compositions quite a lot. Does he really just scream every single time he auto-attacks?
Yep.
It's annoying.
You kind of get into character, though, when you play Kled. It's a bit of role-playing to it.
That's true. He's crazy.
He is a bit insane. Nice trade there from Crystal. All right, now this is pretty chill, right? All the lanes just want to farm it out. A bit of poke back and forth. It's not going to be anything to write home about.
Yeah. The only thing we can really say for certain is that Crystal losing a lot of HP, but he does have the Dorian shield. And honestly, Hoodie's playing the lane well enough that they can still stick around and trade back. And so the damage that we would have expected being hit up onto the turrets actually being repelled backwards. And so Snake right now should feel rather comfortable. You're not going to see these really like early ends to laning phase. So even though we set that expectation, it might not be the case this time around.
Yeah, I mean, bot lane, it's super interactive when no one has burnt a potion yet. Karen is looking towards his mid lane, forcing the flash instantly out from Zatai, but knocked him back into Goong. It will be first blood, and Karen actually comes in with the kill credit.
Yep, Dan has to use Ghost for Goong, and of course Flash for the Maokai, but they get the job done. It's it's actually just impossible to get past that because, of course, it's so easy to just press the W key if you're Maokai. especially once you flashed. And once you just see them sitting there, snared, you just use your flick. And I think in that time, the Bramble Fist actually made it so that it didn't really hit. But it's still very much an assured kill.
Yep, it's basically just a Lee's on easy mode. It's like you don't even have to aim. You just need to be able to hit your W key.
Yep. Shut your eyes, let it happen. Oh, this could be a good gank.
For another gank, yeah. Doesn't have flash this time, but the fact that bot lane's already aggressed, instant flash out from Crystal, he knows what's up. And Hoodie backs away as well, had to stand behind Braum, so... Yup, managed to get out of that one, but still burning another summoner in the bot lane means you know that the Karen's probably going to come in for a repeat gank if he can.
Yeah, perhaps. He's already sent the message, though. So at this point in time, you wouldn't be surprised if he just sits in his own jungle and just looks to clear it out. The only camps that are up and available are Grump and Wolf, but I would say Raptors and Krug should come up fairly soon. He just has to pass towards it. And once he does that, suddenly he's in the top side of the map, and you'd expect him to look for a top lane gank. Now, that's what's really annoying from going up against Maokai players, because especially if he has flash up, these ganks are so easy to look for, and you can't really punish them. SOFM can look to just go into the opposite side of the jungle and try to take some camps away, but Maokai, you'll still get his items. Okay, he's already on top of him.
Yeah, he definitely just teleported into Lies, and Lies was like, what is this? This shouldn't exist.
Was this pre-patched in? Was this patched in before the game?
Apparently. Well, Lies will get out of it, no problem. He's still got Scar as well, so he wasn't spooked by the teleporting Jarvan.
Yeah, Flandre was able to push him off of Scar. That would have been great for Flandre. Then he can just kind of keep Lies in the lane while not necessarily having to trade up against him. Speaking of trades, though, this might turn into something larger than that.
Well, SOFM is going to take the Grump first. And now he might go.
Here we go.
Teleport out from Flandre. Yeah, here comes the play. Flash, Cask, rise the wave, and that was misexecution from SOFM. But they should still be able to pick up Choo Choo's. He's already used his rocket jump, but he's got a lot of that health back and the heal in from Cat. Plus, they are walled off from progressing with that play, so incredibly well done from Dan Gaming.
That's well done from Dan. They were able to get out of there. They had a lot of defensive spells, including the barrier and the heal that got popped through. But the criticism has to be on SOFM, who put down his Q first and gave Choo Choo the time to get out of the cask. So, at the very least, they get tower off of it, but they could have gotten a kill.
E-ult. That's all you gotta do. If you do anything else, and it allows a couple frames for your opponent to hit smash their flash key, they can get out. But still, first tower over to Snake, so it's still a benefit, which means a lot of farm went over to Lies during the meantime.
Very well executed, or at least pathed from SOFM to give them that kind of a lead. Now they're going to just swap the lanes around. The next opportunity for Snake is in the top lane. The only thing Dan has in this position is TP. So they have the TP advantage for themselves, and they're going to be able to say that top lane will just turn into a 2v2. They shouldn't have the opportunity or willingness to look for a dive just because the number advantage will be in favor of Dan.
Yeah, man, that adaptation there as well for the summoner spells from Dan Gaming really just saved their hide in the bottom lane play as well. So that was nice to see.
That's true.
Been very few adaptations over the years in terms of summoner spells. Often, top laners take teleport, or like bot lane takes the heal. Used to be AD carries used to take ignite, so they would be the ones to secure the kill. Then they realized it's better actually just to survive, so you can do more damage. So that changed a little bit.
You don't get a lot of times when the summoner spells get buffed or nerfed. They just stay as is, and it's stable for the game, which I like. You don't want to have these summoner spells get nerfed or buffed or just changed week to week to week. So I'm a fan of that, but you will get proper efficiency a lot of the times where AD carries take heal, and that's just, you're not going to often see 2 heals in one comp because of course heal did get nerfed in terms of stacking it. So a lot of times you just come into a game expecting certain summoner spells to be on certain roles. So that is true. I do love the fact that you get to see the bottom lane have some diversity in how they stack summoners.
Yep, exactly. SOFM sat on a ward right now anyway. Used to be some summon spells that did get removed from the game now, like Fortify was a good one, Surge, Rally, Revive. What a summon spell.
Yeah, I remember, I think the mana back, before we even talk about those summoner spells,
Flandre.
Flandre might want to use it.
Might have to, oh no, he just pops all over the place, hits the Cataclysm, but nope, Lies, you're not going to get away from this one.
At the very least, he used the summoner spell. Probably shouldn't have. That was just an assured kill. Overall, that was great from Dan Gaming that they were able to make that happen, because you would expect Snake to try to look for a play on the opposite side of the map, and they are going to. But Dan should have the response. Goong does have Weaver's Wall.
He's coming up to this top lane. He should be in range very shortly, but Snake already on top of this tower. They should be able to trade.
It's going to take a long time.
It is actually.
It's not going to take this wave.
I thought Zatai was closer, but he is not. Though Elias and Karen pretty slow themselves.
Yeah, I think Snake as a team miscommunicated how much HP was needed. Now, they're still going to be able to do it. It's going to take a little bit of HP. But ultimately, they could have gotten the tower a little faster. That just turns into the smallest criticism you can have. That they needed Gragas to come in a little sooner to hit it. Ultimately, they get the job done.
They get it done. Again, a good early game from Snake, even though they lost those 2 kills over to Dan. It's again what we saw in game 1. But this time, they have a Kog'Maw. So, Kog'Maw's always going to secure those late game team fights as long as he's protected. And we've seen that all the time in the LPL. Love our Kog'Maws.
Yeah, you always have that caveat, though, as long as he's protected. And we always get the Kog'Maw games where, you know, dive into the Kog'Maw, send as many abilities to stun him and kill him, and then you try and win the game when he's dead. It's very basic, but with that being said, he wins too many games recently.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter if he loses that one team fight. He comes back alive, and then he wins you the game in the next team fight. So, yeah, you're right. Even though there are strategies up against Kog'Maw in the LPL, it's actually so hard to play up against, which is why he's been getting banned so often recently.
Just takes that one team fight where it's just like Kog'Maw just gets to sit and spit, and he just murders your entire team. It's like, well, if we even miscommunicate or mis-execute very, very slightly, Kog'Maw just gets to do his thing.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Kog'Maw, 80 carry position as a whole. Actually, before we even get to that,
the wall and cat play, but nice juke there, or nice barrier out from Hootie, stopping the wall. Maokai tanking a lot of damage, but took a long time for Lies to hop over, and now he's under duress. Double kill to Crystal. Flash from Hootie. They want a third now onto Goong, but he's surfing that wall, so he should be able to get away, but can't because I'm over the wall. In this from this one, and Flandre locks up Choo Choo. Third kill of the fight,
Kog'Maw.
make that the triple kill for Kog'Maw, looking for the 4th now, and Zatai finds it just on the edge of the Null Sphere.
Yeah, Dan thought they could look to contest for Rift Herald. But you know what? Worst case scenario. You lose Rift Herald, you lose the team fight, and now they're going to use Rift Herald to take 2 successive towers. I wonder if they go for a 3rd one. Pulse, I wonder. Wait, they're going to leave it.
What?
No, stay with
for
the
the
Rift
next
Herald.
one.
Unfortunate.
Disaster. That was definitely a second turret on the cards there, Mr. Raz.
Yeah, Goong had no mana too.
You saw it, I saw it.
Yeah. It's not like you lose much at all if you take a little bit too much time on the map too.
It's a Cloud Dragon after all.
Exactly. So this was beautiful. You love to see the Braum picks up against Talia because of that. You send the wall out there, you stop the other wall, and you just see the team fight being had here. It's very hard for Dan, especially since they don't have the damage initially, and it's just honestly Snake barreling them down.
Yep, pretty much. Flandre gets the animation on his Cataclysm, so he follows Choo Choo over the wall. And Crystal just goes to town in this final Dark Sphere. Boop. Takes out Cat, who's literally on the edge of the sphere. So it feels pretty bad for him, but still 4 kills, and that was all off of that last fight. So not only have Snake, caught up in kills, they've surpassed Dan in that single play, and they have the Herald, which took mid lane tower. They're 3 towers to 1, massive gold lead for them, and the Kog'Maw's huge 3-0-1 and has a wit's head. So Snake, they're in pretty much the Goldilocks zone, the perfect situation for themselves.
Everything looks great, fine and peachy if you're Snake. We've said that before though, so that's why we have to have that caveat.
Yep, there's always a but in there, unfortunately.
Last game was looking great for Snake really early on, and then they just lose a team fight. Now, at the very least, their team fight power is much stronger versus Dan, especially at this point in the game. You have that Kog'Maw insurance policy, so even if the game looks a little bit too grim, you can just pop in, hey, I got a double kill. That's fun.
Oh, hello. Nice knock up there from Cat, but he's trapped in the ring against Flandre. But in comes Choo Choo. Oh, Dragon Strike, and now it's the 1v1 when Flandre, with this new challenge approaching, I'm not even sure that Choo Choo's is winning this. Flag, drag, follow after. Flash comes up, he's looking for the knockup, but the Buster Shot knocks him away. The chase continues, and Choo Choo, he's on the run.
All right. Great escape. Just kidding. It's about to stall pretty quickly.
Oh, the gods have found him. See you later. Crystal will find his 4th kill of the game.
All right, that's what you can't escape Azkaban, and he was just right in there. He was not leaving that prison. He's dead. Now, essentially, that feels like a 2v1 because Jarvan should have lost that fight, but it was Cat who was isolated first. It was Cat that had to use ulti on himself to start the fight. So it wasn't Cat looking for Jarvan. It was Jarvan just finding a rogue support alone. And so getting that initial pick off, and then Tristana thought she could do something about it.
I mean, it's not too difficult when it's just like, ah, yes, a new challenger approaches, and I get to just 1v1 everybody when you're Jarvan. It's just like, okay, well, this is fine.
It's like a survival mode in any game. You just have waves of an opponent. But in that wave, it's just the one person.
Yep.
You're like, this is easy.
First one was a support, and the second one was an AD carry, so not fantastic. Crystal will get a couple auto attacks, and it's like, ah, my W's worn off. So I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to go for bot wave. See ya.
Oh, yeah, it's the bot wave. I was like, why don't you just take the blast? No, just kidding. No, he doesn't want any part of this dragon. So this is actually a good setup, too. It's not even just for him getting the minion wave, although that's always nice. You set up for the next objective, and that's the tower. So right now, sure, Syndra is taking mid lane turret. Now this is the blue buff, which is why it's going to change up your focus a little bit. But once Syndra has her mana, she might actually want to back 2 just to get her next item. She should be holding on to quite a bit of gold. You should just want Syndra to stay mid so you can rotate to sides where Kog'Maw and the Braum are basically pushing up. They're going to change that just a little bit and put Kog'Maw mid. I don't necessarily agree with this unless if their plan is to dive onto mid lane turret.
I think SOFM sat in the brush, waiting for a potential flank, seeing if anyone comes on by. Looks like his recall is actually disrupted by a sapling. And we're 18 minutes in.
All right, you know
and
what?
Dan Gaming exists.
All right, who's getting hit?
Lies is coming into the top lane for the tie. Teleport is going to turn into a 2 versus 2, but Dan at the 2v1 for the time being. Flandre turns up flag, drag, jumps onto Goong. Where's the Cataclysm? There, taking a trip to Dungtown. And Lies losing his 1 versus 1 as well against the tie. SOFM came out there, gives it a bit of a giggle because he definitely stole that kill, but a 2-0 to Snake.
And you know what? Dan thought they found a hole in Snake's defense. They were like, you know what? Kog'Maw definitely based to get her Blade of the Rune King. Now she's going to base for the Blade of the Rune King. But they recognized that Snake were looking for item points, and they had a Syndra in the top lane, in a very long lane, by the way. So they just looked at Diver, and they were pretty close to getting it. They didn't even get Zatai's flash, and it turned around pretty quickly. So pretty bad from Dan, but still, I liked the look. I like that they're still active, even though the game feels so far off for them.
Well, Hootie has blocked those minions. He's being such a good support. He's helping Crystal break some CS numbers right here. He's going to have like 200 CS at 19, 20 minutes.
Give the man a bonus in his contract for that.
This is the big Kog'Maw. This is a 2-item Kog'Maw at pre-20 minutes.
Feels good. Doesn't have a lot of, let's say, HP, none of that. Just a lot of attack speed, a lot of damage. Blade of the Rune King and Wit's End at this point. Crystal still feels incredibly well protected because Dan has too much to worry about. You don't have time to worry about Crystal, especially since a lot of the time it's Flandre who's jumping on top of you, dealing so much damage. It's Zatai who's doing the same. And then, of course, you have a Gragas flying at you with a pretty large belly. So it's Crystal who's joining the fights pretty late. But by the time he joins the fight, it feels like the fight's already well and done.
Yep. But you pretty much have to. You have to focus out Crystal because he's just being constantly fed, spoon-fed by his team. When he gets into these team fights, like look at the front line. Like Lies primarily just HP, Karen HP. There's no real resistances right now for Dan Gaming, and you know, Crystal will just slice through that like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah. So that's when we have to look towards Dan's composition and wonder what's going to net them a win at this point. Tristana does absolutely no damage. She has a Runan's Hurricane, then just a BF sword at this point in the game. She is so broke, absolutely poor. So yeah, not in a good position, Choo Choo. And Goong, of course, is a Banshee's Veil first item Talia. So you have a defensive Talia, doesn't have much damage to begin with. and Choo Choo, who he's just trying to battle the minions. That's the real fight here. Tristana versus the minions. So yeah, no damage on anyone on Dan Gaming.
Imagine having to use Talia Wall to scout Baron because you have no blue trinkets. It feels bad, man.
It's a definite feels bad.
Like someone should have a blue trinket.
They should. One thing I love about like a team that's winning, a team that has a lead, you don't really want blue trinkets because of course you want to be able to have firm control. So that's why you see Zatai picking up the red trinket to be able to clear out the vision. You don't have to necessarily buy as many control wards, or at least if you do buy that many control wards, you just have so much control of that objective.
Yep.
But if you're in a losing team, if it's hard for you to walk up to an objective, buy an extra blue trinket. The yellow trinket is great if you can walk up to an objective and put a ward down, but a lot of the times you're losing just based off that one pick, so you can't even get that ward down, or at least that ward down costs your life.
He's got it, Raz. Feels good, man.
There we go.
Choo Choo has the blue trinket. And you said buy. You don't even need to buy it. You just trade in your old one. It's for free.
Yeah. I just want Goong at this point to be able to purchase it. I mean, purchase it. Just get it. Just pick it up. It's in there.
Yep.
It's like going through a garage sale.
Practically a steal.
And you're like, wow, I was going to a garage sale. I thought I was getting something pretty cheap. But they actually just don't want any part of this item.
Nope.
Trying to give it to me for free.
They'll pay you to take it.
That'd feel good.
Okay, well, knock Karin into the team, put him in position for the cats to come in. We're locking up Flandre off to the side, pops the ultimate. He'll get chased away, flashes out of this one. But it was, again, just buying time for his team to hit the top tower, which they do not get and lies. He gets some alone time with his tower.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the worst case scenarios for Snake. In any other meta, you pick off the carry, you're like, wow, we've actually just demolished him. Suddenly we're back into the game. Yay. But Jarvan at this point in time is pretty tanky. So that just stops the push from Snake, but it doesn't net Dan much. It nets them more time, which, sure, that's great. But it's 22 minutes into the game, and you need a lot more time to burn.
Yeah, you need more time, but there's a Cogmore on the enemy team who has 3 items, and it's 22 minutes into the game. So like, I'm a little bit concerned for whatever Dan do.
Here's the thing about Dan. At the very least, they have good side lanes in their composition. Like, Kled can be a major threat in sides and then turns into a pretty large threat in flanking team fights. So that's a big worry for a lone Kog'Maw. Sam can go for the utility of sending Weaver's Wall. And of course, Tristana can actually just go on sideways and try to see if anyone can pick it up and burst them down. So I actually think that Dan, if they get the items, that's a big if, because they don't have the items. They don't have the gold. Then they can be a threat. It's not so much in team fights because the front to back is still going to be pretty threatening from Snake.
Yep. Dan just very far down in this game. Though, we literally just had a game 1 where we said there's no way that Dan can possibly win this game. And then they won the game. So it's difficult for me to sit here and you know, not have that but.
Through a lot of shenanigans. And you can never attest to shenanigans. Like the small shenanigan of 2 control wards in that Baron buff.
It's going to take a good 8 auto attacks to clear those.
That's true. You could have had that control ward somewhere in the red side jungle so you can...
Oh, no, stop it.
Don't do it to me.
Not like this.
My ears.
Not like this.
What base?
Okay.
Okay. So, control ward, you know, control ward, put it further into the red side jungle. Something happened to us in its life. It's pretty sad.
He put the spike down, and plus he's got it's always happy hour with Gragas, so he's gonna get himself back. Don't worry about it.
That's true.
It's lucky for Gragas that you know, he's in China, because you don't really want to be in Australia with those prices. Actually, just stop. Actually, stop it. Okay.
He's running away from the Kog'Maw.
Yeah. He just doesn't want to hear this.
He just hears demons in his ears. And you're like, no.
I don't want this. I could probably go for this 1v1, but I just don't. I don't want it. Not anymore. So the just got catted.
It hurts. It hurts that the cat has to blow up.
Up gongs out. Doesn't even get to get the tower. Ah, man. Dan are just... At every single turn, they just have to use ultimates to escape. They can't get the towers. It's just like not even table scraps.
If you're Snake at this point, knowing that Weaver's Wall is down, you'd probably just start the fight. Half mana on Goong. You don't even have your main utility spell. Okay.
Goong's caught out.
All right.
Has to use the flash as well. Man, so many resources being burned here, Raz.
She doesn't have HP. She doesn't have her ulti. She doesn't have her flash. She doesn't have much.
But she has her life, and that's all she needs. This cat's confused. Okay.
There we go. She should not have her life very soon if they look to contest this Baron.
Cats are marching. Cats coming in from the bottom side as well. The cats everywhere. Choo wants to get in range onto opposite Ty and lies. He just came into the fight, but he's discarded. Karen into the backline, but he just disappeared, never to be seen again. But Choo, look at him. Everyone incredibly low. This could be the cleanup time. But Unleashed Power will make sure that he doesn't jump into that fight.
Dan is too low, but they do have some lifesteal on Choo, so being around Baron means a lot knowing that Zatai is down. But that's an example of a team fight in which Snake will start to feel uncomfortable about. But they're going for another one.
Rutro, here comes the ultimate in from Flandre, jumps on top of Gung, and you know he has no way to get out of that.
A good comeback. Now they're able to take the life of Gung, and so the 20-second difference between Zatai and Gung means the whole world to Snake. They can actually just go back towards Baron and pressure it once again, knowing that they're going to have the numbers advantage.
Kog'Maw will destroy this Baron as well once he gets in range. Here we go, and that number is dropping fast, Raz.
I wonder if they're going to be able to contest this.
Lies hits the charge button once more, jumps on top of Flandre, and more importantly, the Kog'Maw Crystal needs to get these people right off him right now. He's about to fall to Lies, and there it is. Karen over the wall again, but the Baron secured out from SUFM, who turns it on towards Cat, but he's being kited out by Choo-Choo's as well. He'll juke towards the bottom side of the river, and in comes the Zatai, pops the full combo. That was unnecessary, but the overkill will put Choo-Choo 6 feet under. Flandre now corralling Cat into the top side of the map.
What happened, Cat? Why are you here?
He's in a box, and he doesn't want to be in this box.
Run! You have so much to live for.
Well, that's 8 lives remaining, and 3 for 2 in the end. Snake come out with a massive win, including the Baron.
Yep, so it could have looked pretty bad for Snake just because they were burning down the Baron, but it looked like the fight was a loss. But the numbers advantage really caught up. Zatai specifically caught up to them, was able to rejoin the fight, and so now you have 3 members of Snake with Baron buff. I wonder what Dan can do to really stop this. Honestly, what am I? I'm just joking. You know what they're gonna do? Stop this. There's only one option, and that's to fight them. The only question is how they're gonna start this fight.
Right, that's irresponsible, Crystal. I'm gonna need you to clean up after yourself.
Yep. Those
Krugs aren't gonna kill themselves.
Don't leave your garbage behind.
Who would do that, Raz?
No one would do that.
Absolutely unspeakable.
No one would do that. It would be too irresponsible.
100%. Anyway, Crystal gonna push in this bottom lane. And yeah, Snake. Now the fact that Crystal's got his Sterax, which still feels like a very odd item on anyone who isn't stacking health because it's based off of bonus health now, it still gives him a bit of tankiness.
Yep. Give him that bit of protection he's going to need, knowing that the rest of his team's going to be diving forward. Yeah, you're right. The ooh is proper because Flandre lost his HP. He's lost it. It's somewhere. It's not with him.
Nope, Choo-Choo has it now. He's taken it from him. And Choo-Choo, yes, he's very strong, but he's 2.5 items. Well, I guess he's completed. That's 3 items compared to the Kog'Maw, and ultimately Kog'Maw is always going to do more damage. Yeah. Though he does have the Ardent Center as well.
It's a weird road for Choo-Choo. The fact that he's been so poor for so long. Okay.
Oh, get out of here.
You're not coming along on this ride.
Nope, this is reserved for Talia's only. And the full engage out from Dan now. They know that Flandre's locked in the top lane. Gung putting the hurt down onto Hoodie, but they're just going to lose their front line. Dan Gaming, I didn't even know what happened to them. And Choo-Choo gets arc-clicked. And that's just a feels bad, man.
You think you're doing well. You even get the 3-man knockup, but there's no damage to follow it up. And Zatai has a lot of damage. So that was the best opportunity Dan had, but they're paying the price for it. It could be a game.
It actually could be here, Raz. With 3 down, Gung and Cat the only ones remaining. A massive minion wave here, plus the Baron. I would not be surprised if Snake are able to finish off with this push. SFM is actually going to tank the tower, and Flandre comes in for the top lane as well. They are looking for this one. Gung trying his best to clear out the minion wave, because honestly, that's all he can do at this point in time with 5 members remaining. Recalls. There's still a long time on these respawns. They turn to the Nexus. I don't think it's going to be that close, but in comes Karen. Just needs to put a couple more auto attacks down, and there it is. Snake secure game 2.
And it's going into a game 3, Pulse.